Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Happy Sabbath to you. Wherever you are around the world, happy Sabbath. I don't normally go live on TikTok, but there's something that I want to address this Sabbath rising. Because I did a video recently about women and their anger and hate towards men. And it seems that there's a misunderstanding about the video that I did. So I want to come live and clear up all misunderstandings for my audience. I do have a YouTube channel called Marie's Message 411 TV. You can go over to YouTube and check out my videos and my live over there, and subscribe, click like, and share so you can get more in-depth information on my videos and my content. But what I want to address this Sabbath morning, good morning, Grand Rising to everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome. Wherever you are around the world, welcome. I don't normally go live, but I wanted to come this morning and address something concerning the women and the video that I did about the anger and the hate that some women have towards men and why they sabotage relationships or why their relationships don't work out. And I'm speaking from my own experience. But what I wanted to clear up concerning that video is that the video or the reel that I did was not about, I just want to make it clear, the video was not about trauma or rape or abuse that women suffered as children from their own father that caused them to grow to be angry and hateful. That was not what the video was about. The video was about women who are in relationships and the relationship does not work out with the father of their child. And because the relationship does not work out with the father of their child for whatever reason, they take that hate and anger that they have towards the father and teach their child to hate the father. And the child grow up with a hate and an anger towards men. And as they grow and become adults and start their own relationships, they end up sabotaging that relationship. The video had nothing to do with trauma or abuse that the child suffered, and then they grew up and became hateful towards men. That's not what the video was about. So I come on this morning, this Sabbath, to address that. Greetings, Willie Watts. I see you. Greetings, Grand Rising. Grand Rising. Grand Rising. Hello, everyone. Happy Sabbath to you. Thank you for joining. Greetings. I hope you all have an awesome day. Yes, I wanted to address that issue because I see comments. Angela Buino. I hope I'm saying that right. Grand Rising. Thank you. Thank you. I tried to share as much as I can. Thank you, Willie. I try to share. Vassie White, thank you. Thank you for joining. Happy Sabbath. Or is that Vessie? Vessie White. Grand Rising. Yes. Hello, hello, hello to everyone. Yes, I also did a video about the men and their hate and anger towards women. And I saw that under the comments of the video that I did for the women, there were women addressing that men sabotage relationships too. And I do agree with that, but that video is to focus on the women, not to put off the blame or discuss the men. Henry Franklin, Grand Rising, thanks for joining. The video was not about men, it was about women. Christian, Grand Rising, it was about the women. So let's focus on what the video is about, and the comments I'm getting about, oh, men do this. I noticed that when there's time to address the males, the males will comment and make comments about the females and put it off on them. And then when it's time to address the females, I notice that the women will negate the situation or the point that I'm trying to make and put it off on the men. Well, let's keep it in context. If we are discussing the issues and addressing the issues of the in context, if we are discussing the issues and addressing the issues of the men, and keep it there. If we are discussing the issues of the women, let's discuss the issues of the women. And I'm trying to address that the video is not about trauma or abuse that fathers have done to their daughters to cause them to be angry and hateful, and then grow up and sabotage relationships. That's not what the video is about. And if there was trauma, and there's a lot of women who have a right to be hurt and angry from trauma and abuse that happened to them from their own father, but that's not what the video was about. But if that's the case, you need to get some therapy. You need to heal from that before you try to be in a relationship. Because if you don't heal from your abuse and your trauma as a female child, when you do grow, your relationships are not going to be successful. But that's not what the video was about. The video was about young girls who are growing with their mothers, who are bitter towards the father because the relationship did not work out. And because of her bitterness, she took her bitterness and imposed her bitterness for the father onto that child. And then that child grow up as a woman, and now she sabotages her own relationships and probably subconsciously don't even understand why she's sabotaging her own relationships. And if she was to go back into her childhood and reflect back on how her mother used to talk about her father and say negative things to her about her father, and you know, treat her negatively because she reminded her of her father, then she will understand why she grew to sabotage her own relationships. That's what the video was about. So I come on this Sabbath to address that and to say, no, this doesn't have anything to do with abuse that young ladies have suffered as a child from their own father or from a man or uncle or whatever. This has to do with bitter women who made bad choices in the relationships, or the man that they choose. They made a bad choice, a negative choice, or for whatever reason, the relationship did not work out with them and the child's father, and they separated. And now this woman is bitter because the relationship is no longer there. And she became narcissistic and took out her frustrations against the father onto that little girl. And that little girl grew up with a disdain and a dislike and a hate for her father. And now she's imposing that on men in general. And that can destroy any relationship that she tried to develop with a man. That's what the video was about. And if you are going through these things as a young lady, I suggest that you go and get some therapy and get counseling. A lot of us have trauma from childhood that we suppress and say we're okay, and never go and get therapy or get the help that we need in order to heal. And we just go from relationship to relationship to relationship, expecting someone else to be our therapist, expecting our partner to heal us. And that's not going to happen. Grand Rising, Hikmat Salahu. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Happy Sabbath. Happy Sabbath, Hikmat. Oh, thank you, Willie. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. If you guys want to see more of my videos, go over to Marie's Message 411 TV on YouTube. I'm on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. Go over there and subscribe. Click like, click share. Click the notification button so that you can see what's coming up next. David, Grand Rising to you. Wherever you are around the world, Grand Rising. Happy Sabbath to you. I don't normally come live on TikTok, but I had to address something this morning. Lady Chemistry, happy Sabbath to you. Eric Claiborne. What is that? Eric Claiborne 827. Happy Sabbath. Happy Sabbath to you. Thanks for joining. I got 90 likes and only 2 people I see. I only see 2 people that joined. Well, now I'm up to 3. I have to ask you guys to come on in here and join me this Sabbath. Or is it too early? Is everybody still sleeping? Share this live. Share this live. Like up the live. Like up the live. Share the live. Happy Sabbath. Happy to see you all. Grand Rising. I hope everyone is doing well. Lundell McNeil. Happy Sabbath. Thanks for joining. Who is that? Marty McFly. Why does that sound like that movie, Back to the Future? Marty McFly. Happy Sabbath to you. I love that movie, by the way. But yes, I was discussing the video and addressing the women. And some of the comments that I saw on there was going completely off the topic. And I'm totally against abuse of a father towards a child, any type of abuse from a father towards a young child, a young girl. But that's not what the video was about. The video was about a woman making a choice to be in a relationship with a man. And the relationship does not work out, and this woman is bitter. And so because she's bitter, she take out her bitterness on her daughter and teach her daughter all this hate towards the father because of her poor choices and because of the relationship that didn't work out with the father. And that child grow up with a dislike towards men. And then she end up sabotaging her relationships with men. So you see how the cycle, Damien, happy Sabbath. Annie, happy Sabbath. Thanks for joining. You see how the cycle continues? And the way to break this cycle, because I have my own experience of the person I chose as my daughter's father. Let me give you a personal experience. My experience with my daughter's father was very toxic, but it was my choice. Chrissy 25A, happy Sabbath. Some of these names I don't know if I'm pronouncing the right way, so forgive me. Sean, happy Sabbath. Sean Jones, happy Sabbath. Retro Kid, happy Sabbath to you. Thanks for joining. Hello. So let me give you some personal experience that I had. I chose my daughter's father. I chose to be in a relationship with him. But then once the relationship started, I realized that it was a very toxic and unhealthy one. Right? I chose to have a child with him. Atoya, Grand Rising. I chose to have a child with this man. It was a very abusive pregnancy, and it was a very abusive relationship. Did to reverse the generational curse. When my daughter was born, 2 years after she was born, I made the decision to separate myself from her father. But all of the anger and the hurt and the bitterness that I had towards my daughter's father, I made sure to try to not impose that on my child. Because there was a bond and a relationship that my child and her father had. Despite what me and the father was going through, there is a love and a bond that her and her father shared. He was all that she knew from the time of conception until she was 2 years old. Her father was with her in her life through everything, even though he was abusive towards me. So what I had to do was to learn how to heal from my trauma towards her father and not impose that on my little girl. I was conscious to make the attempt to not allow anyone around her that knew her father to have any discussions in front of her that was negative about her father. I didn't allow my mother to do it. I didn't allow my relationship that I had after my daughter. I didn't allow that man to do it. I didn't allow anyone to speak negative around my daughter where she could hear or see anything negative about her father. I wanted her to grow and have her own relationship with her father and form her own opinion of her father. And that's how you erase the generational curse. Because I wanted her to grow to have a healthy understanding of a man so that she could make a healthy choice and make her own choices and not sabotage her own relationships when she became adult. I was thinking of my daughter in the future. I was thinking of her future relationships and her future life. And I didn't want to let what I was going through with her father be imposed on her. The breakup with her father was traumatic. He didn't make it easy for me to communicate and deal with him after the separation. He even refused to pay child support because he could no longer have access to me. And he thought he was spiting me by not paying child support for his child. And all of the anger and the hurt and the bitterness that I was dealing with concerning my daughter's father, I still allowed him to have visits with his daughter on a weekly basis. And I allowed them to build a relationship over the years. I separated from my daughter's father when she was 2 years old. And my daughter is 21 years old today. And I never interfered with the relationship that she had with her father because of my personal experience and issues that I had with her father. I allowed them to build their own relationship. I allowed her to form her own opinion of him, and I didn't impose my feelings and my opinions of my daughter of my daughter's father onto her. That's what the video was about. Bitter women who raised their daughters to be hateful and angry towards men because of their own father, because of imposing what they feel about that man onto that child. There are times when I see women, and women do it to boys too, especially if the child looks like the father and acts like the father. If she disliked that man, if she went through trauma with that man or abuse with that man, and she wants to be bitter and narcissistic, she will take out her anger and her frustrations on that child. And that child will grow hearing all these negative things about the child's father their whole life and not even understand that that's trauma. And then they grow up, this child grow up and have a dislike for men and don't even understand why. Go from relationship to relationship, sabotaging the relationship, and don't even understand why. Never got therapy. Alberto 2308, Grand Rising, happy Sabbath. Thank you for joining. They grow up with this anger towards men and don't even understand why, because they never got counseling and therapy and got to the root of why they feel the way that they do. All they know is growing up, they heard their mother saying negative things about their father and telling them that you look just like him, you act just like him, and I can't stand him, and have nothing positive to say about the father. There's a saying that says, if you can't say anything good, don't say anything at all. Nana Duncor 499, Grand Rising, happy Sabbath. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. Some women get in a relationship and the trauma from that relationship, they don't go get counseling and therapy and heal from that. They have children with that man, and that innocent child is now at their mercy, and they take out all their hate and their anger for the man that they chose to be with, the man they chose to lay down and have sex with, the man they chose to lay down and procreate with and have children, and then turn on the child because the relationship didn't work out. All of their hate and bitterness, they turn that towards the child and raise that child to hate their father and hate men. And if you really get to the bottom of it and you sit that child down and you sit that father down and that father explain things to that child, a lot of times all of the untruths, the lies, the hate that mother have been drilled into that little girl probably wasn't even true. Probably wasn't even true. And a lot of times fathers walk away from relationships because it's not working, because that woman is toxic. That woman is narcissistic. And to save himself from going to prison, from her calling the police on him and him having to spend the rest of his life in prison, he walk away from that child and that relationship to save his own sanity and his own life. Let's get to the bottom of it here. It's not just men that are toxic. It's not just men that are narcissistic. Let's address the women too. There are some women out here who need to go get therapy and get help. And they get in relationships with men and do some evil things to men and sabotage the relationship, have children with them. Some women will have children with a man that she don't even really like, but because of his financial status and how much money he make, or his the way he look, he can make cute babies. So she get pregnant for him intentionally to trap him so that she can have child support and money and a roof over her head, because she don't have any ambition and no desire to work and do for herself. So she purposely get pregnant for a vulnerable man who's to body, but don't understand that this woman mind is not right and she don't have any ambition. Yes, I'm a want to talk about it. Yes. Happy Sabbath. Grand Rising. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all of you. Share the live, share the live. The more you share the live, the more people come in and we get to have this discussion. FNE Bash, FNE Bash. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Happy Sabbath. Welcome. Share the live. The women are not going to be happy with me this Sabbath rising. But it needs to be talked about. We talk about the men so much on social media and what the men don't do and what fathers don't do. Bashing fathers. But this live is about the women. We have to address the women. And there are some women out here who are as down low, not down low. I can't use that word. That's for something else. But they're just as angry, bitter, full of rage, revengeful, narcissistic, toxic, unstable, abusive. Yes, there are women that abuse men, but the men don't report it. The men don't talk about it because society is against it. Society shun and laugh at men if they report that a woman is being abusive. Cassandra Dixon 152. Happy Sabbath. Grand Rising. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Share up the live. Like up the live. I only see one person here. 90 likes and only one person. Come on now. Build up the live. Build up the live. I don't come on very often. But I really want to discuss this about the women this morning. And some women are not going to like me for what I'm saying. But it's true. Give me some gifts, everybody. Help me out this Grand Rising. Give me some gifts. Like up the live. Give me some gifts. I'm discussing Sexy Mama 105. Sexy Mama, happy Sabbath. Yes, let's discuss the women and address the women. There's some women out here that are they're so toxic. And they go from relationships to relationships, ruining good men. That's why I can't find a good man. It's hard for me to find a good man. Why? Because some men are getting so afraid of being in relationships because some of these women are so toxic. Some of these women just look at them as dollar signs, as somebody they can just have a child with so that they can have financial security, at least for 18 years, to have a roof over their head. Because they don't have any ambition, they don't want to work. And some men aren't really taking the time out to really date a woman to get to know her and know where her mind is, what her values are, what her morals and values and ethics are. They just see, men see with their eyes what they like physically. Rose Jenkins, 1972, happy Sabbath. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Like up the live. Give me some love. Give me some gifts. Thank you. I appreciate you. Happy Sabbath. Some of these women, these men are not choosing good women, just like how women are not choosing good men. Some men think that the dating stage is just, the first thing is the physical. You see the person and you're attracted to their physical body, but it's just a shell. Their soul, their spirit is empty. Their brain is intellectually empty. And before you even get to know this person's birthday, or what their full name is, or what their favorite color is, you're laying down and having sex with them. Unprotected. No protection. And you just meet this woman. 2 months later, a month later, she's pregnant. And you don't realize that you have just gotten a woman pregnant that is narcissistic, toxic, have trauma wounds from her childhood that she have not healed from. She hate men. She's just doing it to use you. And you don't realize this until 9 months later, after this child is born, and you are put on child support, and she is calling the police on you and putting a restraining order on you, because all she wanted, her plan from the beginning, you was a target, young man. You was a target from the beginning. You was a meal ticket. and having that baby was the whole point of her having sex with you. But you was attracted to her physical beauty, and you didn't take the time to get to know her and to know her family and know her background and know her history, to know what type of woman you were dealing with. And guess what? Now you have, men call them the crazy baby mama. Now you have a crazy baby mama who have alienated you from your child and has taken that little girl child and taken all her bitterness and her anger towards you or towards men and imposed that on that little baby child, and is raising that little girl by herself without a father. And that's how young ladies grow up, to have this hate and anger towards men. That's what this video is about. The video that I did was not a video about little girls who suffered trauma or abuse by the hands of their own father, and then they grew up to be bitter and angry towards men. That's not what the video was about. Let me address it this Sabbath and get it straight. Tom G, welcome. Happy Sabbath. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, I'm speaking the truth this morning. This is about the women. Let's address it. We talk so much about the men and what the men don't do and what fathers don't do. Hey, sweetheart. Grand Rising. T. Grand Rising T. Thanks for joining. Like up the live. Give me some love. Share. Like up the live and share. If you want to see more of my videos, go to YouTube and search for Marie's Message 411 TV. I'm over on YouTube, and you can see all of my videos in detail. But I come to address this morning. Yes, I did a video about the men and why some men are weak, and weak, and their main objective is to destroy a strong woman. Yes, I did a video on that. But the video that I did for the women, see, I'm not partial. There's no partiality here. Business, happy Sabbath. There's no partiality here. I did a video for the men, and I'm going to do a video for the women. But I noticed that when I did the video for the women, some people are quick, women are quick to leave comments about addressing the anger and sabotage that men do in relationships. That is true. However, I wasn't addressing the men. I was addressing the women. So if you have a comment about men and how they sabotage relationships and their hate and anger towards women, then you go over to the video that I did for the men and leave comments over there for the men. But the video that I did for the women is addressing the women and their issues. It's trying to address the fact that there are women who choose the men they choose. It don't work out for whatever reason. They have a child with that man. And because them and that man is no longer together, and that man left them, or the relationship got broken up for whatever reason, and the woman is bitter and angry towards that little girl's father, she take out all of her anger and her rage and her hate towards the little girl's father. She take it out on the little girl, and the little girl grow up to be a grown woman who did not go to counseling, who did not get healing, and now she hates men and probably don't understand the root of why she hate men. Then she tried to have a normal life and try to get in a relationship, and her relationships never work out. That's what the video was about. The video was not about abuse or molestation or rape. Can I say that on TikTok? I hope they don't block me. But that the video was not about those things that happened to a little girl between her and her father as a child. And I'm seeing comments on the video about that. Now, if those things happen to you as a child, yes, you suffer trauma and abuse at the hands of your own father, and you need to go get counseling and therapy for that so you can heal, so you can have a better life. So maybe you can have a better relationship with another man. But that's not what the video was about. It wasn't addressing that. Rashira, happy Sabbath. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. I see 107 likes, and it looks like it's only one person that joined. I only see one person. Yes, I'm addressing the women this morning. There are some abusive women. There are women that abuse men. There are women that get in relationships and turn a good man bad. There are good men out here, but they are afraid of getting in relationships with women because they don't know how to choose women wisely, because they choose with what they see instead of getting to know who the woman is. We need to stop just looking at appearances when we meet people, men and women. The dating phase is not for us to jump in the bed and be sexual. The dating phase is to gain data, to get to know each other, to get to find out if you are compatible with each other, to find out where the person's mental state is, to find out how intelligent they are, to find out about their morals and their ethics and their values, to find out who their family is. Check out their background, their history. Find out if they have any mental illnesses. Because you could actually be laying down with a demon. I'm speaking from personal experience, by the way. And I have a hard time finding a good man. Why? They say, oh, there's no good men out here. That is a lie. That is not true. Lots of good men out here. But they are very cautious of getting into relationships because of all of the toxic relationship issues that go on in our society these days. They're afraid. And I don't blame them. Just like women like me are afraid of getting into a relationship because of all of the toxic situations that happen between people in society. I have had my own personal toxic experiences with relationships because I made bad choices in the man that I was choosing. Let's start taking responsibility here. Lester Jones, happy Sabbath. Thanks for joining. Jamal Pak. Tanko. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Happy Sabbath. Jamal Pak Tango. I hope I'm saying that right. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, Jamal Pak. But thank you for joining. We need to take responsibility for our own actions and the people that we choose to lay down and procreate with. There's a quote. I don't know who wrote the quote, but I put it on my YouTube page. And the quotes say, take responsibility for your part that you played in your own suffering. Dino, happy Sabbath. Take responsibility for your part that you played in your own suffering. When a relationship between a man and a woman end, when a relationship between a father and a mother end, that innocent child is still left. And most of the time, the child is left at the mercy of the mother, because the mother, the toxic mother, have alienated that father and won't allow that father to have any relationship with the child. And part of it is because of her bitterness towards him. So because the mother can't stand the father and it didn't work out with the father, he's not allowed to have a life with his own child. He's alienated from his own child. And yes, society helps to assist toxic mothers in alienating the father from their child. I said it. Yes, I said it. A lot of people not going to like me this morning on this Sabbath Live, but it's true. There are some good fathers out here who thought it was best to walk away from a toxic relationship and a toxic woman to save his own life. And because he had to walk away from his toxic wife or his toxic baby mother to save his own life, he had to walk away from his child or his children as well. And because he walked away from that, that mother is bitter. And she take out everything that she have against that father onto that little girl. That innocent little girl who loves and adores her father. There are some toxic women who are jealous of their daughter's relationship with her father. And the fact that the father does not share the same relationship with her, she end up hating her own daughter and talking negative about the little girl's father to the daughter, even though the daughter adores her father. Yes, there are some toxic women out here. There are some narcissistic women out here who are jealous of the relationship that a little girl have with her own father and will do whatever to separate her from her father and then teach her to hate him. And then she grows up hating men and not healing, not getting therapy, not understanding where this hurt and anger is coming from. Sister, your hate and anger towards men is coming from your bitter mother who did not like your father. And because she couldn't hold him and control him, because he left her, she took out all of her anger and her rage on you. You, my little girl, was a reminder of him. David, happy Sabbath. For those who are just joining, happy Sabbath to you wherever you are around the world. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Share up the live. Give me some gifts. I appreciate you. I don't normally come live on TikTok. It's been a long time since I come live on TikTok. But I'm coming live this Sabbath morning because I woke up this morning and I rise up and saw these comments on a video that I made about women and why they are bitter towards men. I made a video about the fact that some women grow to be bitter towards men because of the bitterness that their mother instilled in them about their father. The mother hated their father, and so she taught the little girl to be bitter towards men, and then she grow up now and cannot have a normal relationship with a man because her mother taught her to hate her own father. That's what the video is about. And some of these fathers are loving, caring men. Tazlock, Grand Rising, happy Sabbath. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all of you. Happy Sabbath. Some men out here are good fathers. Some men are good men, healthy men, mentally, physically, emotionally healthy men. And some of these toxic women destroy them, ruin them, abandon, like separate them from their little girl. Just because they know that the little girl and their father share a love and a bond. They will separate them. They will destroy that relationship. And that child grow up without any, that little girl grow up without any healing. Without any understanding of why her father left. All she know is her mother had been telling her all her life that her father left and he didn't want her. And she grow with all kind of abandonment issues and self-esteem issues. And then she go from relationship to relationship trying to seek all those things in a man that she didn't get with her own father. She grow up wondering why her father abandoned her, why he didn't love her, why she wasn't good enough. When in actuality, she was good enough. He did not abandon her, but her mother put all of that into her head. And so she grew to hate men. And then she go from relationship to relationship, sabotaging the relationship. And then blaming the man for why the relationship didn't work out. Gianni, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Happy Sabbath to you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, we need to address it now. It's time to get to the bottom of it. It's not just men that are toxic. It's not just men that are narcissistic. There are women that are narcissistic too. And because they never got counseling and got therapy, they impose all of their hate and anger towards the man that they chose to lay down with and procreate and have that little girl. They take all of that anger and hate towards him and impose that on that little girl who loved and adored her own father. And that love turned to hate over time because she made sure to alienate that man from his child so that he has no contact and no relationship with his little girl growing up. And then just fill her mind with all kinds of hate and anger. Just put all of her hurt, her anger, and her bitterness. She put that into that little girl because of the choice she made to lay down with that little girl's father. Margarita Almarez, 559. Happy Sabbath. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Forgive me if I don't pronounce it right. If you all want to see more of my videos, go over to YouTube. Marie's Message 411 TV. Go over to YouTube and subscribe, like, and share. And click the notification bell so you can see what content is coming up next. I don't normally go live on TikTok. It's been a long time. Long time. But I have to address this. I did a video on men as well, and toxic, weak men whose main objective is to destroy women, to destroy strong women. I did a video about toxic men as well, and how 90% of the time their hate and anger towards women stems from their own mother. See, let's get to the bottom of it, the root of it. It all goes back to the mother, the nurturer, right? Let's put the responsibility where did all of this start? Where did the wound open in the first place and just festered and got bigger and bigger and bigger? It started with the mother. If the mother is not in a right mental state, if the mother is toxic and abusive and narcissistic, that child that she give birth to is not going to be a normal child, normal, healthy child. The child might look physically healthy, but mentally and emotionally, that child is going to be damaged if that mother does not get therapy and get healing for her wounds, for her trauma. It's a cycle that just continues. It continues from generation to generation, and it starts in the womb of the mother. If the mother have a hate and a dislike for men, if the mother suffered trauma of a man, and she have a child, whether it's a male child or a female child, she's going to impose all of her trauma and her toxicity onto that child. And she is going to run that child's father away and end up raising that child by herself and further traumatizing that child. And that child grow up, and that child does not get therapy, does not get counseling, does not understand why they are behaving the way that they are. They try to live a normal life, and now we have a society full of narcissistic people with narcissistic behavior and personalities. Narcissistic spirits are in men and women walking around. So that's why you don't see healthy relationships anymore. That's why people are getting divorced and separated, and relationships are not working, because the womb of the mother is producing these narcissistic people that are walking around. And I'm speaking from personal experience, because I'm going through a divorce right now from my narcissistic husband and his narcissistic mother, his toxic narcissistic mother. And when I learned the history of my husband, and learned the history of my husband's father, and learned my mother-in-law and how evil she is, I understand why my husband is narcissistic. When I learned the trauma that my mother-in-law went through from my husband's father, the hate and the anger that my mother-in-law have towards the man she had this child with. She took it out on my husband and raised him in a way where he is now narcissistic and she's narcissistic. And so we're raising a generation of narcissistic, toxic people in our society. Yes. Big Mama 4002, happy Sabbath. Will I get that? Yeah. I can't get past that, dude. Yeah. It's true. Me, I don't need anger management. I went to my therapy. I got my healing. I learned how to be happy and be at peace within myself. I separated myself from that. I live alone. I divorced myself from all that. I live alone. I'm happy by myself. I'm happy to be single. I'm happy to get to know who I am. And all of my negative experiences that I had with my own father, even my own father was narcissistic. And I didn't learn that my father was narcissistic until he was dying. I didn't learn why I never received love from my father until he was dying. I didn't learn the history of my own father and why he became narcissistic until he was dying. And then the healing came. The forgiveness came. I no longer blamed my father for how he treated me or how he dealt with me throughout my life, because I understood that if he did not have the love that he was supposed to get growing up, he could not raise me and teach me how to be a young lady. He could not give me love that he didn't know how to love. He didn't know how to love. He didn't receive that love. So how could he give it to me? I healed from my trauma. My experiences taught me a lot. And I am blessed and thankful for all of my experiences. I'm thankful for the experience I had with my narcissistic husband and my mother-in-law. It taught me a whole lot. It taught me a whole lot. I'm a better person today because of the experiences that I had. From childhood growing up, any trauma that I suffered, that I experienced, any abuse, any molestation, anything that happened throughout my life, I have gotten counseling. I have healed. I am loving my spiritual growth, my confidence, my self-esteem. I love who I am, inside and out. I love all of my perfect imperfections. I don't need anyone or anything to complete me. Circumstances around me does not determine my happiness. My happiness and peace come from within. But some of us have not gotten to that point. Some of us have grown bitter and angry over the years because of these things that have happened to us. And we need to address it. We need to address it. We need to take responsibility for our own actions. Yes, things happened to me as a child that was traumatic. But now I'm an adult and I can make my own choices and my own decisions. So go to therapy, get healing if you realize that you had trauma from your childhood. Get some healing. Learn who you really are. Learn to love and appreciate who you really are before you get into a relationship with somebody else, so you don't contaminate them. So you don't have the cycle keep going from generation to once you become an adult and you realize what you have been through, it's no excuse to continue the pity party. Woe is me. Yes, you were traumatized. Yes, that happened to you. Yes, you have to acknowledge and face what happened to you. Don't run from it. Don't run from the pain. Express what you feel. But you have to get therapy and you have to heal from it. You have to forgive and you have to move on with your life. You can't stay stuck and stay still and stagnant. And you cannot go and contaminate another person with your trauma because it'll just keep repeating itself over and over and over again. And we're unstable and didn't get no therapy. And then we lay down and procreate and bring another human being into the world and then impose all of that negativity onto them. And it just continues and continues. What do I do for excitement and satisfaction? I go to nature. I enjoy nature. I'm glad you asked that. I love to go to the beach. I love sunlight. I live in Florida. I used to live in Cleveland, Ohio, where it was always cold and wet and damp. And yeah, we didn't get very much sunlight in Cleveland, Ohio. Most of the time it was snow. And after I raised my children, I decided to move to Florida to take care of my dying father who did not raise me. And when I got to Florida to take care of my dying father, I was able to make peace with him and understood a lot of things that happened to me when I was a child. And I was able to make peace with him before he took his last breath. And I have been in Florida ever since. I'm a caregiver. I work in the healthcare field. That's just one of my hats that I wear. I'm also a local reggae artist. If you want to hear my music, go to YouTube and type in Jata Marie and you will see me. Jahtamarie. I'm also a local reggae artist. I go from Miami to Fort Lauderdale. I perform. Yes, there's a lot of good things I do. I love music. That's one of my outlets. I'm a writer. I'm a singer, songwriter, performer. I go to nature. I strengthen my spiritual life on a daily basis. I love nature. I love sunlight. I love the beach. I go out to sea. I go paddle boarding. Yes. Yes. I'm an empath. I love people. I love to care for people. I'm glad you asked that question. Put a sponge on my head. Why do I need a sponge on my head? This is my locks. I have my locks braided up. I don't know. Mike, what is his name? Mike Kettle Creek. You said, this is not a white people problem. I tend to disagree. I don't think it's a white people or a black people, or I don't think it's a race problem. I think it's just a people problem, because I have worked in the medical field and have experience with people for more than 30 something years of my life. And I have experienced toxic relationships, toxic mothers, toxic fathers. The reason why I can speak on these things and do videos on these things is from my own personal experience and from experience of working with, around, having coworkers, having managers, bosses, being a manager of employees. I was a manager of employees, and in all walks of life for more than 30 years of my life now, I can honestly say that it's a human being problem. It's not what a black or white or Asian or Hispanic or Indian or Hindu or, yeah. I totally disagree with you saying that it's not a white people problem. I don't agree with that at all. Not from my experience. I see all people from all races experience all types of toxicity. Some races are better at covering it up than others. That's the only difference that I see, sir. I hope I'm saying sir. I hope I'm addressing you correctly, because you did say Mike Cabela Creek. Mike Cabela Creek. This is to address what you just said. Some races are better at covering up their family toxicity than others. But from my personal experience, this toxicity that's permeating the atmosphere with all this narcissistic behavior and personality, it's male, female, young, old, middle age. It doesn't matter the race. Does not matter the race. It doesn't. It doesn't. So I don't agree with it's not a white thing. We have to stop making it, oh, it's a white thing, or it's a black thing, it's a black race thing, or it's a white race thing. There's other races in the world besides black and white. Why is it always black and white? There's all types of races of people, all cultures of people that I have experienced and have dealt with and took care of and was a part of their family long enough to observe the toxicity. Some families are just better at covering it up and hiding it and being hypocritical. Some of the most narcissistic people that I have met go to church every day, every week. They're in the church. They're in religion. Religion itself is narcissistic. Yes, I said it. Yes. I'm a spiritual person, not a religious person. I grew up in religion. I grew up in church. And I've had experience with church people. I've had experience with pastors. When you read the King James Bible, if you really read it and pay attention to some of the stuff that's in there, it's very narcissistic. It's very toxic. It's very male chauvinist towards women. This world that we live in, this society, is very misogynistic. Yes, I said it. Country boy, happy Sabbath. Ken, happy Sabbath. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, I'm speaking my truth. Take it if you like. If you don't, oh well. Everybody has a right to their own freedom of speech. Everybody has the right to their own opinion. But I'm speaking from personal experience, not just from my opinion. Charles, happy Sabbath. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all who just joined the live. I can't believe I've been on this live this long. But there's some things I needed to address this Sabbath, this rising. Happy rising to you. Hey, baby. Big G's. Happy Sabbath. Pamela Viola. Kanzias. Thank you. Happy Sabbath. Wherever you are around the world, welcome, welcome, welcome. Rusty Marit. Rusty Marit. A Marit one. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Forgive me if I don't. Forgive me, Rusty. Happy Sabbath to all of you. Like up the live, share the live, and give me some love. Give me some gifts. Give me some gifts. Yes, religion is so much narcissistic stuff that goes on in religion. You can find a whole lot of narcissistic behavior going on in church life, church people. Now don't get me wrong, some pastors are good. There's one pastor that I do recommend. R.C. Blakes, Pastor R.C. Blakes Jr. I do recommend him. I'm not a member of a church, but I do watch him on YouTube, and he gives a lot of good insight and information and help to women on how to deal with trauma, how to deal with narcissistic personality, how to heal from your trauma. Go check him out, R.C. Blakes Jr. on YouTube. But for the most part, no, I don't go to church. No, I don't believe in religion. I'm a spiritual person. I'm for the universe. The 12 laws of the universe. Nature is my guide. I look to nature. I'm a spiritual person. I look to the universe for my guidance. I pray to my ancestors, my guardian angels who are my ancestors. I pray to them for guidance and protection. Wagwan! Pisces, is that Pisces King 319? Am I saying that right? Pisces King 319. Wagwan! Happy Sabbath! Happy Sabbath! Thanks for joining. Like up the live. Grand Rising. Happy Sabbath to you. Who is that? Sebastian. Hey, happy Sabbath, Sebastian. Grand Rising. I know it's you. I know it's you. Pisces King. Thanks for joining. I don't normally go live on TikTok, but here I am. Because I woke up this morning and saw some comments on a video that I did about women being bitter towards men because their mother was bitter towards their father and taught them to be bitter. And then they grew up being bitter towards men, and now their relationships are not successful. Well, I saw some comments that were contradictory. Happy Sabbath to you. I saw some comments that was contradictory to what the video was about. The video was not about any type of abuse or trauma that a girl child suffered from her own father that caused her to grow to be bitter and angry towards men. That's not what the video was about. My video, my reel, was addressing bitter women who are taking out their frustrations and their bitterness for the father of their child onto that little girl. So basically, it's about a woman who were in a relationship with a man. She had a girl child with that man or girl children with that man. For whatever reason, the relationship did not work out. And she is angry and bitter towards that man, towards the father of her young girl. So she alienate the father from the young girl. And then she turned her bitterness that she have towards the father onto the little girl. And the little girl grows up now with this bitterness towards men, this hate towards men that she probably never healed from, never got counseling, don't understand why she has this anger and hate towards men. And she tried to have normal relationships as an adult, but her relationships never work out. That's what the video was about. So I'm here to address it. And for all of you who want to see more of my videos and to see details of my conversations that I have with my audience, go over to YouTube. Marie's Message 411 TV is my YouTube channel. Click like, subscribe, share, click the notification bell so you can get upcoming discussions or videos that I might do. I'm also a local artist. I have songs that I have written. They are copywritten with ASCAP. My stage name is Jata Marie, Jahtamarie. If you want to listen to my music, go over to YouTube and you will find Jata Marie. Go to SoundCloud, you will find Jata Marie. Go to Reverb Nation and you will find Jata Marie. I am a local reggae artist as well. Yes. Oh, and I have a t-shirt. Online t-shirt website called Jata's T-Shirts. www.jata's-t-shirts.com. That's one word. Jata's T-Shirts. JAHTASTSHIRTS.com. Jata's T-shirts.com. Go and check out my merchandise on my t-shirt website. I must say I have to go now. I hope everybody enjoy their Sabbath. Have a wonderful, awesome day. And like I always say, be good to yourself and be good to others. And until next time, Marie is saying bye-bye.